Hello, hello, hello. I am in the garage and today I am so excited. I put my new artwork up, the box on the top. It's a cardboard box and I duct taped it and I painted it, and it is called my wish box. On it is a boyfriend in blue gourd form and hearts and ivy hedges, and on the other side, it's hard to show now, on one side, on the upper side, on the top shelf is an animal in pink, but that could be a pig, a horse, or a dog, a new papa dog, or all of those combined. And then on the other sides, on the two sides, are flowers and hearts, and it is really gorgeous. And so that's my wish box, and it's all about making the world better and love and peace and all of that. And it's okay that we can talk about what we wish for. So it's just, that's not true that we can't tell other people what we wish for. So we have the right to tell other people what we wish for without getting punished for it or something, you know. So, and I want to get into the depths of all of this in this video. Underneath this one there, that is a 2x4 piece that I had painted a while back. I don't know, maybe a year or two ago I painted this, and it was in my closet, and because I cleared the space in between these wood beams today, I put some boards up high, like there. The plywood, that was quite hard, made me sweat. So, and I cleared all of that out with those feathers things that grow outside. Those feather things, I don't know if you can see them from, if you can see it. Yeah, the feather things growing there. And I just cleared all the spider webs out and all of this. For some reason there are spiders that make that create cotton balls. I don't know. It's full of those cotton balls. It's amazing. Like about this size and about kind of oval shaped a little bit. White hairballs of, I don't know, some, I think they're cocoons. I think they are moss cocoons of some sort, or large moss cocoons. So they're pretty large. But the ceiling is full of those things, and they keep drizzling down. So now this stuff protects my artwork a little bit from all of that stuff coming down. So yeah, Paul helped me with the installation, particularly with this thing here, because he had to use a drill motor to put the screws into. He put the screws into the eyes of the blue gods. Okay, alright, see you later. He's going shopping. And then he had to get the right length screw so that it doesn't go all the way through and then come out the other side of this garage, because we don't want an animal to get caught on that, because it has a pointy tip. So he just got the right lengths to go through this 2x4 and partly into those wood boards that are, I don't know when this was installed, about 1940 or something. This is an addition that someone built onto the old house from 1930. So this is a small California beach type of house from 1930, and small family lived here. I guess with 2 children, and then later on they built this garage onto it, and all these different structures connecting with each other, they create friction, and then the friction causes leaks in between, and it had been dripping in there, right there in the washroom on the ceiling, because the garage and the washroom, I guess the washroom itself is also an addition. So, and all of that creates, it's always moving. Things are always constantly in motion, and people used to not know all of this. The laws of physics and thermodynamics and motion and friction and all of that, and then causing gaps, and they didn't keep up with putting Henry's roofing tar on it, and then it leaked in. And when we bought the house, the washroom had a gigantic spot about the size of this box there on the ceiling, black mold, and we should not have bought it, because that made me crazier. I know what Pat is thinking now. Pat is thinking, yes, yes, yes. So them Germans are crazy, but don't get me wrong, you are the craziest of all, he will say to me. And yeah, the mold, the mold adds to that, of course. Mold is very, very, very toxic for the nervous system. As you can tell, I am living proof of that, okay? And then the other house also has black mold, but also different types of mold. There are many different types of house mold that they have actually evolved through human, I was gonna say domestication, so house life, so human house life, when they were nomadics and lived in tents, that never developed like this. So, but now having old crappy houses that are like completely soaked up with mold, so that's then the molds, they can evolve into, they might eventually evolve into higher life forms, who knows. So there was a writer who wrote about this. I can just go on and on and on into any direction with any kind of subject. I can just go in this direction, that no, I want to stay with my artwork. So I'm really excited about this. So and then I put a line there where where we were gonna put this board, because there's a hole underneath, natural hole, a wood hole from the tree, and so that hole is like this big, and I just put this board that fits right over that hole and makes it look better. And then here on the corner are the one with the red eye. That is the one I finished yesterday. This one here, that is I believe that's a pear coffee jar, either a pear coffee jar or a nut jar. So they look pretty much the same. I think those are both nut. The orange one I finished already a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago, and I have a whole bunch of those. I set them there to show them, so that we can see it better in this light. And I also paint the lid, and those are really nice. They make really nice cookie jars also as presents to give to someone, and I have painted hundreds of those in Germany and in the United States. So, but I'm really excited about my wish box. The wish box I worked on for many, many, many weeks. I would say for 3-4 months even, or maybe 3 months, because I always put more and more layers on it. And over there, I made those like a couple of years ago. These two. They have been hanging there for quite a while. So now the garage is gradually also going to be decorated with my artwork, and that's really nice, and I absolutely love it. I love the garage. I like the way it feels in here. I love wood, although I would never build with wood because we need to keep our trees, the last trees, standing and alive. Okay, that's why I don't buy any kind of wood or any kind of wood based products. Paul buys paper towels from Walmart which contain wood products. I don't know, it says from sustainable forestry, but I don't know if I can believe that. So I would much rather have tissue products that are made from garden clippings or something like this. Would be great to have something like this in each community to make the world better, and have people bring their garden clippings into it and throw that into a paper or wood grinder mill. And so yeah, and that brings me to the subject, the old lumber mill, that fits also theme wise into October, of course, Freddy Krueger. So this old lumber mill that we found, I am absolutely excited about this. That is my dream property. I want that really bad. I don't know what's going on with it, so I have to keep writing to the county recorder office. I'm not gonna say where it is because I have Freddy Kruegers behind me, after me. There are internet Freddy Kruegers that are stalking me, and I don't know how many they are. Could be just one person. I think so far it's just one person. So I don't know. I had several in the past, but who knows? So I don't know exactly who that person is, but I know there's one very, very, very unrestful soul, and that brings me to the subject of hungry ghosts and entities. An entity is a ghost without a body. That is a ghost. They call it Bardo. They're in Bardo. Bardo is like a threshold type of existence that hasn't moved on, that clings to the physical but isn't physical anymore. So they cling to different objects, and that's why I'm making this video for Annie, and I want everyone, Sandy, check out Annie. Her videos are really, really cool. Her YouTube name is The Green Witch. So I have been watching Annie's videos already a couple of years ago, and then so many other things were happening in my life. So then I come across some really cool videos, and then I don't watch them for a couple of years because other things are preoccupying my mind. But just recently because I didn't want to go in the chat room also before they closed the chat room down. So I wanted to stay off the chat room. So and then I wanted to give myself time to research things again and herbalism, and so I came across Annie's videos again and been watching them, and they are amazing. And you can call me a green witch as well. So I am personally not connected to Wicca or any kind of religion. I am really against all religion. So I like Bob Hickman. You're probably familiar with him. So he's really cool. So and I had been watching his videos, so until he got mad at me because I wanted to, during a live tweet video that he made, I wanted him to notice me, and that's my ego and all of this. That's my wounded inner child. And then I was a bit pushy with this, and he got mad at me, and then I was so hurt that I said, okay, I won't go to your channel anymore. I unsubscribed. But it was really, it's me, it was my problem, my issues. Okay. So been thinking and thinking and thinking about all of this for a very, very long time. But I don't belong to any religion. I appreciate Wicca and any kind of person who loves nature, who respects nature and animals and their own sexuality and their own animalness, so, and that's what's included in a lot of those different types of societies that are nature oriented, and Mother Earth groups, and different types of groups that are out there. There are even some devil worshipper groups out there that are pro peace, and I saw all of this also. There are some others that totally misunderstand everything. But it doesn't matter what someone belongs to, as long as they're pro peace and pro love and pro nature, then I am completely on board with what they do, and respect that and accept that and all. It's just that I personally don't belong to any group or any association or any religion. So I don't want that. I very consciously choose not to do this, because also there'll always be something that I might not agree with it, and there's not one single person on this planet, okay, that I will 100% agree with. So, and that's good, that's okay, that's completely normal and great, and that is super. We need to question things, okay, we need to not be latching on to any kind of movement or any kind of society. We need to stand on our own. This is very, very, very important. That's the whole message I have. I walk that talk. That is what my videos are about. Stand on your own. Question things. Question all religions and question everything. And if you find something true about this or that person or group or society, test it out for yourself and see if it works. But then you still don't need to latch onto that group or society. You can say, yeah, that I agree with, and I practice that because that sounds right, it sounds true, right? So, and that's good to do, to do what feels right. Not because I want to appeal to someone or society, or I want to be part of something. And we are herd animals, we want to be part of something. So we always tend to gravitate towards latching on to this or that group. And I've done that myself when I was your age, So when I was 22 or in my early 20s, I don't know, you look super young. You look like 18, because you take so good care of yourself, Annie. Okay? And someone who is an herbalist, they preserve themselves. So that's why the witches were always, they always had this reputation of being like 500 years old but looking like 20. So that theme that appears a lot in fairy tales. And the reason why they have this reputation is because because they removed themselves from stress and from society and from social pressures. They slept well. They went out into the woods, like I said in my other videos. They knew how to learn from the animals. They knew what to eat. They only ate 100% healthy stuff. And I would probably think a lot of them didn't even hunt. A lot of them went completely herbal and plant-based. And that's the best for ourselves, for sure. And I'm just guessing that a lot of so-called witches, the herbalist ladies, the feminists, the ones that were way ahead of their times, that said, this society sucks, man. They wouldn't use those words, but that's what they were thinking. They're thinking, man, this patriarchal system, that is just horrendous, horrendously awful. I have to go. I'm going to take my dog and my goat and we're going into the woods. We're going to go far away from that feudal system and the king and their executioners. Okay, so we're going to hide out there. And many of them were hunted down. It's horrific. But some survived. Some made it. Okay, some got to get very, very old, and because they lived so in such a pure, pristine way, and they slept 12 hours per night, okay, they were able to preserve themselves and all of their cells, and it is absolutely fantastic and magical and amazing. And maybe some of them, which is tragic, some of them were found maybe by a man or two, or by the king, or by executioners, or whoever, or a prince. And then, I don't want to tell the rest of the story, but, they will use them and abuse them and leave them there. And then some of the witches will have their babies, and they will give these children a wonderful life out in the woods. So, and later on they will tell them who the father is, a total jerk. And but some of them were never found, and they lived in total isolation and seclusion. And maybe some of them went out there with another woman, and maybe some of them were just friends with another woman and they made it together, or they were lovers. So there were all these different people, I know for sure, throughout the whole planet, during the Middle Ages. People that were ahead of their time, people that were thinking out of the box, and that's why we need to stand on our own, because the witches did that. So, and then later on people will pick up on that, and what they find, whatever has been passed on, the information. There's a lot of information, like I said in one of my other videos, a lot of information had been burned because the Roman Catholics who had invaded Europe and forced their religion on the pagan people and the pagan farmers, they burned everything that had any kind of information that was not completely on board with the Christian religion or the Catholic religion. So it's an atrocity. Okay, but there are occasional things, very rarely, that had been passed on. Herbalism, plant paintings, and your plant paintings are absolutely fantastic. And a little bit information about the nerves and the hand lines and all of that. and healing, all kinds of information that they found out themselves. And sometimes, like with these morphogenetic fields, sometimes one person discovers something, and that energetic, it's like a blueprint of energetic pattern that can travel very, very far to someone else who's receptive to it, and they will suddenly have this insight from this from the morphogenetic field, from the other person that had discovered something, or if someone pushes a boundary with something that had not been achieved before, some kind of sports boundary that someone has achieved, or Wim Hof going with shorts onto the Himalayan mountain. And this is an encouragement energy that can travel to someone else who is interested in this kind of activity, and that will bring that person further as well. So this is a quantum entanglement soup that we live in, of course, and whatever is out there is communicated in energetic form to someone else. And so I can go on and on and on with this also, but I want to come back to that, to the entities. So you have an entity attached to a table. Okay, so I am fascinated with old tables, and we missed out on an old table that someone set out on the street here at the end of the street. And what did I do? My mental illness again. Mental illness, bad. I have OCD with cigarette particles. I knew these people were like chain smokers that put that table out there on the street. They had a sign on free, you can take it. It even had 3 chairs and that table was like from like 1800 or 1780 or probably 1780, like some real expensive antique with 3 matching chairs, really handmade, like they have these hand grinders, and I mean incredible craftsmanship with like ornamental, really thick ornamental furniture, wooden furniture. And I passed it up because I said, no, it's ridden with cigarette particles. I can't take it. That was a big mistake, because that didn't look like it had any entities attached to it. It only had cigarette entities attached to it, and that's why I said no to it. But I really, really regret it. We could have had that for free. We could have cleaned it up. He could have sanded it, we could have varnished it, would have been so amazing. But no, all because of my mental illness, and it is so, mental illness is so bad. It stands in our ways. And that's also, that has to do with ego and all of this, but that's more like avoidance. Then there are ego issues where the ego can escalate, and that's the case with trolls on the internet. My mother is that way, unfortunately. I wish her the best, so I don't talk to them anymore, because I really have nothing to talk to them about. They are stuck in a world of vanity and snobbishness. This is an escape mechanism. I was thinking about this earlier, washing dishes. I thought, fear causes arrogance. Arrogance is fear-based, really. Arrogance is ego-based. Ego is fear-based, always. It's based in hierarchy and based in this incessant need to gain this or that, or gain a reputation, or become something, as Jiddu Krishnamurti always talks about with Dr. David Bohm. this problem of wanting to become something and not be okay with where we are. We are constantly growing, adapting, learning, and becoming already naturally. We don't have to do it unnaturally. Okay, so everything should be naturally done in the world. It's very, very important. So this video that you made today about the table, I haven't seen your previous video. I'm a little bit afraid to watch the previous videos where you're showing the table. So I am highly sensitive. I already have a lot on my plate in my own life right now in terms of dealing with my own mental illness, trying to heal, then dealing with Paul's mental illness. And Paul is an extremely stubborn type of ego and super compassionate, but also ego, also issues, clinging, resistance, real strong resistance, and that is always difficult to deal with. So when we're dealing with everyday life, I suggest something and the default answer is no from him, because he's always in resistance. I'm surprised that he immediately helped me with this here, so that's nice. So, but there's a lot of resistance in him against primatherapy. Primatherapy was flawed. Okay, I did that for over 10 years. That helped me a lot. I mean, so much. That was pure energy work on myself. And Dr. Arthur Janov is amazing, and Paul thinks he's a criminal. So Paul is in total resistance against all of this. He's in extreme resistance against a therapy help center, because he saw his mother had a music store and people took advantage of her. So I'm a lot like his mother in every way, and he thinks that I'm going to be taken advantage of. The only people that will come are homeless people that will put their trash on that property of the therapy help center. And yes, he's right in all of this, but we have to start somewhere. I want to help people. I want to help people who are suicidal and who are suffering and struggling. I want to help all. I want to help all the entities out there. I understand when people say, okay, they have a piece of furniture now, and some strange things are happening, and they sense something from that piece of furniture, or whatever it is. It could be a painting from 1700 or the Middle Ages, or it could be a whole house or a castle. So I would be afraid to move into a castle. I would be very afraid, because castles, particularly, in Germany, there's a lot of castles from like 1200 even, So a lot of shit had been going on there. You can just imagine. Oh my God, so much suffering. And then Fort Bidwell out there, Fort Bidwell, California. But something in Fort Bidwell is calling me to it. Something, the old fortress from 1865. That's when it was built. So it's not that old, but it's old. It's definitely antique. The roof had fallen in. It's completely collapsed. Only mainly the stone masonry facade is standing. That was built literally rock solid, with rocks and with cement, and that's totally weatherproof. And they did a real good job. This is very contemporary style, actually, from 1865. So there was this John, I believe it was his name, John Bidwell, who was the militia type of leader protecting that area there from those people that were constantly attacking them. And then later it became a school, but lots of things had been happening there. I'm sure terrible things had been happening there from both sides of the of the spectrum, from both sides of that battlefield. Okay, so let's not assume that one was only the victim and the other one the perpetrator. No, 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 no. They're all perpetrators and they're all victims no matter which side they're on. Okay, and this has been going on through thousands of years. But Fort Bidwell is calling to me, and that's why I made two art pieces, which are in the staircase at the other house, that are called Fort Bidwell Part 1 and the other one Fort Bidwell Part 2. And they're awesome. They're styrofoam packaging materials that I painted with acrylic colors. So, but sometimes they're like Fort Bidwell or a table or a painting or a chessboard or chess pieces or whatever people might find in an antique store, and they feel particularly drawn to this. There's a reason for it, of course. You know, there's an energetic draw to it, and it can feel kind of pleasant and good. It feels like there is some kind of, you understand what's, somehow energetically understand this. There's someone behind it, some entity behind it that you understand, but you don't really consciously know what it is that you understand. My hacker is one of those entities, okay? A very, very, just like the entity with the table. Okay? My hacker is an entity like this. My mother is an entity like this, okay? So it is ongoing work. For me, it's particularly difficult when it's my mother to deal with this, but I communicate with her just in thought form. That's much easier than in actuality talking to her. She's in such resistance. Now my poor brother is dealing with her now. He's taking care of her at old age, and she has dementia, and now the troll comes out a lot because of the dementia, because the prefrontal cortex becomes weaker, which had been blocking that off. You know, like, I am together, I am a lawyer, I am whatever she was thinking, you know, I am so normal, you're all so crazy, I'm so normal. That's my mother. Okay, so now that's weakening. Now then the normalness was only a facade. The craziness was suppressed underneath. So now the craziness is coming out. The troll energy in her is coming out now, and my brother's dealing with. He even called it Norman Bates situation. I just pray to the blue God that it doesn't escalate into that, you know. So I'm really worried. I love my mother, I love my brother, I love my dad, I love my whole family. I love all of them. I am so extremely different to them. My brain is so different, always was, that it's hard for them to deal with this, you know. So when I was a child, I was still like, whatever the adults say must be true, and that sits well with any adult ego, of course. But as soon as we grow up, you know, if we are different, if we're highly sensitive, if we have Asperger's, there is the twist with the brain. Our brain says, wait a minute here, you know. The Asperger's brain says, no, I'm not gonna accept that shit from society. No, that's BS. And the moment that happens, as Jiddu Krishnamurti also said, the moment we question a religion or society, we're out of it. That very moment, we're energetically out of that. Okay, my parents associate themselves very strongly with this or that. I question it. I'm in that moment out of that realm. Okay, I question it. I'm not in that, in any way, okay, I'm an outsider, okay, in my own family, okay. So, and that was always very difficult. My dad called me Cinderella because of that. So, and he called my mother the whatever, you know, in that Cinderella fairy tale. It's really the trolls are the stepmother and her biological daughters, and she marries the nice guy, single father with a daughter, and the daughter is Cinderella. But in my family, it's not step parents, but my dad kind of associated my mother with that stepmother. So, and that's already all really, really red flag. He had a mistress, lifelong mistress, and that really was hard on my mother, but she stayed anyway, and my dad felt sorry for her. A big, long story, all of this suffering, you know. Like people, they cling to whatever kind of situation. They cling to a bad marriage. They cling to a specific family that they're not really energetically part of because they want to belong to that. They cling to that religion or what the religion dictates to them, and it is very difficult, you know, it feels very unsettling to know I am different and I really don't belong there. I have to move away. I have to move on forward with my life. Otherwise, I'm a prisoner in this reality that I don't belong into. I love them, but I can't be in their reality. That is extremely neurotic. My mother saying, she is so normal. What does normal mean? That means extremely neurotic, right? Because society is so incredibly neurotic already. That's why this, like, what is even normal? You know, she wants to be adapted. And we are all the crazy ones. Annalise, my child therapist, and I, we were her targets of ridicule. So because we were struggling, always struggling with mental illness. Annalise and I, we were in primotherapy together, so in LA. And my mother kind of snubbed down on that, like, she doesn't need that. No, my mother is the most neurotic of all. That's the fact of it. But those people like my mother, my hacker, stalker, that's been going on. I believe this has been going on for several years, longer than I initially thought, because I didn't know who he is. I thought those are different people that could be all one person, because I'm starting to put these energetic patterns together. I see the resemblance. I look back and I go, that probably was him all along, you know. So, but I don't know for sure. Please don't touch that bag to my stuff, okay? Thank you. So it's getting a little bit dark outside. I'm wrapping this up now. So I just wanted to talk about this because I think this is the most fascinating subject in the whole world. Is psychology, parapsychology, and energy healing, and the occult. Helena Petrovna Blavatsky / Gautama Buddha / Jiddu Krishnamurti. It's all one person. Okay, you probably heard about Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. I would say that she was the most genius woman who has ever existed on this planet. She came up with quantum entanglement, quantum energy, and with subatomic, deep into so far into subatomic chemistry that she said this at some point these subatomic particles become ether. And ether is like the entities. Okay. There are ideas, there are thoughts, there are words, there are concepts. They are not tangible. You can't touch them, but there is energy. And when we are sensitive, we can sense that. You're highly sensitive. You see that. Your girlfriend too. Highly sensitive. Paul is an atheist, but he's highly sensitive too. He doesn't even want to know it. He doesn't even really want to accept it. You know, when his dog Samantha died, he knew what to do. He lied down on the floor with her during the euthanasia. An atheist who's like, oh, well, this just all matter or whatever. No. He knew in that moment of grief, in that moment of total oneness with Samantha, he was there for her. There was no more thinking. There was just, that's what Sri Krishnamurti is talking about. When there's no more thinking, as in recorded memory, then we are in that oneness with that what is in that moment. And he lied down with her on the floor, held her all the way through, like half an hour after the euthanasia he was still holding on to her. I touched her, was on her back leg. I was sitting behind her on a chair. And it was the most important that he was holding her, because he and Samantha were one, like the nuclear couple, sort of. And I met him in LA when he already had Samantha and another great Dane, Ludwig. And I was lying down with Ludwig on the floor of the vet office when he got the euthanasia, and he got the euthanasia in LA. Samantha got it here. I'm not going to say where because of that Bardo entity. So, and whoever else, there are some Muslims who want to behead me also. So I can't say where we are. It's very unfortunate. There are such enormously crazy people out there, you know. So I don't know whether the Bardo energy would kill me. I don't know. Okay. So sometimes I feel like he has compassion for me. I know that Mukhtar, the Muslim guy who wants to behead me, he doesn't have any compassion for me at all. But Mukhtar is not. He's not stalking me. So it is the Bardo, not Bardo, he's still in physical form, but like the Bardo energy. That's an entity, that's an ego energy soul, very ego. Some people think that, when we are going out of the body and we're going into the non-physical, then we're all free. No, that's not the case for everybody, you know. Esther Hicks also talks about this. So maybe in the beginning it feels like, no, we're free, like, suddenly, like, maybe that's the case for everyone, some kind of roller coaster, we're going downhill, like, we're flowing with the flow of gravity or something. Suddenly we're no longer bound to gravity, we're free or something, but some hadn't resolved their issues yet. So then they will come back and they will say, this is my piano, I'm not gonna let go of it, or something. We have an old piano in here. So, and maybe sometimes the piano starts playing. That's not good. That someone like me would get a heart attack, for sure. I hope this, guys, please, don't do that to me. Don't do this to Big Trailer Mama. Please don't do it. I can't deal with this at all. I will get a heart attack. I'll get a nervous breakdown. So let's just talk to me. I always tell them, go into your own minds, of course. And if you need to talk to me, I say this to the ghosts and I say it to the trolls, talk to me directly. It's hard for them to talk to someone. It's hard for them to come up to someone unmasked. And I'm not talking about the medical mask. I'm talking about the psychological mask. Come up to someone and say into their face, this is what hurt me here. You know, it may be irrational and you may be ashamed about it, and maybe your mental illness, but that is the stuff that we need to be talking about. Okay? Jealousy, all of this we need to address. And so I haven't seen your table. I'm a little nervous about it. Maybe I will do this in the future. I'm just dealing with so many things. Earlier, after doing this here, I was psychologically so exhausted that I had to sit down with a rock that I found together with my papa dog out there in the desert. A petrified tree root piece. And I sat there for a while to ground myself psychologically. And I also have to keep grounding myself on the tree as well. I did this a few times. I grounded myself on the English laurel and on the rhododendron tree, and I need that. We all need this. We need to get grounded back with the earth. Okay, you either touch a tree when it's wet outside, or you can sit down on the grass. I recommend to people to do this every single day. This is vital for your health. Trust me, this will also make you live longer and make your life much higher quality and much more pleasant. Very important information. There are documentary films on this, people who have been studying this, not just from a holistic point of view, but actually there are scientists that have been studying this and have confirmed it. So grounding on the earth, very important. We are electrical. Our rubber soles keep us isolated, insulated, away from the earth. This is not good. This is new in human evolution. And people are not adapted to that situation. And some people get very sick if they don't get grounded. And there were people that reported about this. So one guy who grew up in Alaska, he grew up grounded. They were playing outside all the time. He moved to New York. He was never grounding for years, and he got very, very sick. He almost died. So we need to take this very, very, very seriously. Okay? And I understand that you need to protect yourself from entities that are very, very hungry ghosts, okay, that are very, very, very trollish and aggressive, but they are like this out of despair. Trust me on this, I know this for sure, okay. But they're going about it like someone who would be walking over others in order to get out of a burning building, okay. That's the despair state they are in. They're in that much despair. The ego is on flames, okay? So even in those entities, so that's ego soul energy mixed in with the soul, okay? The soul is not free from that ego energy, and we want to help them to free themselves from the ego energy. We also have to understand that we can't do any kind of dualism at all. We can't say, we need to condemn the ego or something, or we need to banish something. The word banish needs to be recycled, okay? The word banish in itself is already totally fear-based, okay? And I see that with so many people. You don't know, I'm not blaming you, right? I'm not blaming you or anyone for wanting to banish anything or getting rid of something or cutting something, whatever, most people want to cut something off. All of this is the wrong approach, okay? I know this for sure, okay? It's about healing, and the medical industry doesn't know that at all. The physicians don't know this at all. Physicians have no idea about any of these things. So what we have to do is we have to heal, okay? the entity in the table wants to heal. I feel it's a woman, okay, and finds out a little bit more about the table. Go back to that antique store, ask them if they know, find out about it if you can, or research this type of style. When was that table made? What kind of era does it come from? What was the situation on Earth? Okay, what kind of wars were happening? And you might be able to find out more, but it's not that important to find out more about the history. It's just helpful extra information that will help you understand that person better. But that person wants to communicate with you, for sure. And she is in a desperate mental state. That's why when you did the herbal cleansing, she was like, are you kidding me? That herbal cleansing doesn't do shit for me, like, I'm still here and I need help, and you can't just chase me away with some cinnamon sticks. That's why she did that. So, and don't be afraid about this. This is a woman in despair, okay, deep despair, and she's very much clinging, and something very, very awful must have happened to her, okay, and in that lifetime, okay, and who knows, we also have trauma from past lifetimes, and we may even have connection to each other from past lifetimes. So all of these things are possibilities, but she senses something in you particularly that where she feels like you are the one who can understand her. So maybe she felt very similar to you, and maybe she may have been in love with a woman, and who knows when that table was made, maybe in 1800, like that table that we saw there at the end of the road. So, in 1800, people were not allowed to be gay. So because of their shit religion and their shit society, okay, I'm sorry, I cannot say it any other way. Okay? So they still burned people for all kinds of stuff like this, for going against women. Were not even allowed to wear men's pants, and what a bunch of bullshit. They had to ride the horse sitting sideways. Can you imagine? Because that's too sexual for a woman to sit straddling a horse. Like, wow, bro, is this retarded or something? I mean, they were retarded, these people in the past. And they were criminally insane, and that was institutionalized and socially accepted. Criminal insanity that was socially accepted, okay? And so it took people a long time to say, hey, wait a minute, this is BS, let's do better than that, okay? The feminists in history have worked so hard to get us to this point where we are now in time. We don't want to roll this back with Islam or something like this. Seriously, okay? So that's why I talk about this a lot in my videos, or on Facebook, or wherever I am on the internet. I talk about this all the time. It's very important. So this woman sees you as an ally. She sees you as someone who can understand her, and she just wants your attention. She wants to communicate with you, okay? You don't have to be afraid of her. And even your dog felt compassion for her, actually. But your dog was also startled over that energy, because dogs are protective of us. They don't let everyone into the house, of course. They will bark. But your dog, when you said the dog scratched on that table, that means the dog was saying to her, I see you are in pain. I want to help you I understand you. We need to help you, okay? And your dog saw her leave the house, okay? Because she came back even after the table was outside. So your dog saw her leave. You did a lot of cleansing that made her leave. She didn't really want to leave, but that made her leave. Now she's out there in the table at your friend's property. But she's not interested in your friends. So she wants your attention. She needs to communicate with you. So I almost feel like crying. I feel sorry for her. She's in despair. She sees that you, from all those people out there, you can understand her, okay? But I don't blame you if you're afraid. But this is also an opportunity for you to do energy work and healing for yourself, because they come to us because they see something that is similar, or that, for example, my hacker, I remind him of his mother, okay? And Arjanov always used to say, you marry your mother, he always used to say that. And this girl, this entity, she sees something in you, some similar struggle, or some similar type of experience. She sees that you're more advanced. You have already moved forward with that, what she wanted to move forward with. So you can help her with that, okay? The video is super long now. So let's talk about this sometime, okay? You guys take care. Bye-bye. Love for the hacker too.